Hey folks, it's Abby, and today Hannah from Ladder M has challenged me to do the DeadFamous Readalong Tag once again. So she's doing a challenge on her channel where she is redoing tags, and when she got to this one she decided to re-tag all of us from the DeadFamous Readalong crew. I've tried to make sure that my answers for these are all different from last time, but if you want to see me doing this the first time round, please check up here in the corner. And if you don't know, Skulduggery Pleasant is a series that starts off as middle grade and goes into young adult, and then older young adult, all the way through in roughly 15 books with some extras here and there, that is based in Ireland and follows a young girl who learns how to use elemental magic. It is fantastic. There is a skeleton detective, it's wonderful, I adore the series so much. So all of these questions are going to be based around characters from within that series. First up, we have Valkyrie, the main character. This is the young girl that I just mentioned. And the prompt for this is a book that features an anti-heroine or a dislikable female character. And I am going for Book of Night by Holly Black. I recently read this back in July, and the main character in this, Charlie, is a massive pain in the arse. No other way of putting that. I really don't like her. I can like dislikable characters if they have a redeeming quality or if they're written really well. Unfortunately for me, that is not this. Then Skulduggery Pleasant himself, and the prompt for him is my favourite mystery or thriller. I always struggle with this one with what to answer, but this time I'm going with Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I was tempted to go for Poirot, but I went a different route. So this is a sci-fi mystery thriller that follows a man who ends up delving into various different dimensions where the different versions of himself lived slightly different lives, so better or worse jobs, with his wife, not with his wife, dead, alive, and he has to try and get it back to his own dimension to save his wife and his children. I really like this. Then the wonderful, beautiful China Sorrows, a book that is gorgeous but intimidating. I've read this one, but it definitely counts, and that is The Embroidered Book by Kate Hartfield. This is, let me just check, 650 pages long. It is a historical fiction, well, a historical fantasy set around Mary Antoinette and Charlotte. That Mary Antoinette, Charlotte is her sister. You probably haven't heard of Charlotte. Look at the foiling and then the sprayed edges, and just the cover itself is just beautiful. And also I loved it. Like, I loved this so much. So this one, the magic used is like you have to sacrifice your memories and your precious possessions in order to enact magic, and the two women tried to use it to influence politics in very different ways. So good, so good. Tanith Low, the book with the best fight scenes. I went with Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. So the fight scenes in here are a little bit different. This is another historical fantasy. I seem to be reading some historical fantasies lately that I love. I am blaming Goldsborough, but I'm not mad. Then obviously involves the magic in the fighting, which I always love, I always love. But it also has people in it who are joining in these fights who are not magical, and they are doing their damnedest, and I love seeing kind of magic versus non-magic when we are supporting the non-magic person. I just really enjoy it. Also, this book is amazing and everyone should pick it up and read it. It's like an adult version of Peculiar Children. Thank you. Ghastly, Bespoke, a book that is beautifully written. Binti by Anedia Corafo. I was so sad when I finished the third book in this bind-up of the short stories. So in the first short story we follow a young woman named Binti who's going off to university on a different planet for the first time, and she is very nervous about leaving her people. Her people don't go off planet, they don't do this, and they are kind of rejecting her for doing this. And when she then goes on these travels, everybody on her ship is murdered by a different species who has an issue with a different race than hers on this planet, and that is why she survives, is because she's from a different race. She then has to learn how to communicate with these people who massacred the friends that she made on this ship, as well as then adjust to university life and try to come back home and have her family still accept her. That is all done whilst entwining messages about racism, sexism, hatred, all in a beautiful sci-fi story with an amazing set of world building in so few pages. I was so sad when I realised I had no more to read. I really hope she writes more in this series specifically, but I'm picking up more from Okorafor at some point because this is beautiful. Vaurien Scapegrace, a book that missed the mark. The Muse by Jessie Burton. I DNF'd this one. It's another historical fiction. I have trouble with historicals that are just straight fiction, unfortunately. And this was really well written. I really enjoyed the character development and the plot lines, but for some reason the writing just didn't capture me. And so I DNF'd it, which was such a pity. It's based in two timelines. One is in the 60s, following a black woman from Trinidad and Tobago who has come across to work in the UK, and it's also set in 1936 in the south of Spain. And the girl there is an artist whose father doesn't think that women can make art, and he's an art dealer, and she can paint, and apparently there is some sort of thing with the entwining of like the painting across the times. I don't know. The concept sounds beautiful, but I'm never going to read it, the rest of it, sorry. Then Fletcher Renn, a book that has a lot of settings, and for this I went with the Travelling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arakawa. This book essentially is a road trip book with a cat and a man, and it's adorable, and it made me sob, it made me weep. It's translated from Japanese, and dear god, it's amazing. They drive all around Japan to lots of different locations, in the city, in the countryside, from north to south of Japan. Yeah, so here you go, lots of different settings. I love that book. And then the final prompt is Davina Marr, a book that is controversial or contains controversial topics. And I have went with The Rivers of London by Ben Aronovich. The reason that I'm calling this one controversial is because the main character in this book is mixed race between a mother from Sierra Leone and a father from Britain who is white, but the author himself is white. Additionally, the way that he writes the point of view characters' views and opinions on women is not fantastic, shall we say. The sexism is rampant. So that's not great, but then additionally there's a lot of anti-racism in here, so a lot of the times someone's race will only be pointed out if they are white, and otherwise it's just left, which is obviously different to the norm, and that's kind of utilised throughout this. So Aronovich at least had brilliant intentions, but I need to see Own Voices reviews, and I'm very bad at googling. If anyone knows of any, I'll link them down below, please. Also, I really enjoyed the book itself. I'm definitely continuing with this one. And that is the DeadFamous Readalong Tag Take 2. I think I did okay. I'm pretty sure I managed different books for every prompt than I did last time. A fair few of these I hadn't read when I last did the prompt, i.e. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 8 of them. So yeah, I've definitely done okay. At the worst, one of the books is duplicated. That is the DeadFamous Readalong Tag. I am going to tag Caitlin from My Cheshire Rabbit and Carrie from Caring for Books, because I know they have both read the first Skulduggery Pleasant book. So they haven't come across all of these characters yet, but they've come across some of them. And also just the questions separate to that are really interesting. I'd love to see what you guys think. So if you'd like to go and see their channels and give them a subscribe to wait and see for when they do this tag, then click down below. I'll leave the links down there, along with obviously the link to Hannah's video, and if the others have done it yet, then their take 2s for the DeadFamous Readalong Tag. A lot of links down below. Let's hope I remember them. If you'd like to see some more from me, then please also hit that subscribe button down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!